monitoring and evaluation. So today we are focusing on moving away from conventional monitoring and evaluation into participatory M&E. And our primary focus is going to be on how can we use artificial intelligence to help us involve stakeholders more easily, more meaningfully, more effectively in participatory monitoring and evaluation. But on top of that, I know there are some people who are joining us for the very first time, and probably you have not been interacting a lot with monitoring and evaluation. Maybe you haven't. And therefore, we are going to start from the basics of monitoring and evaluation, and then build our case up to the participatory M&E that we want to look into. So my hope is that for those who are here, and maybe you have already been certified at Vantage Africa, the first session, we are going to ensure that it's vibrant so that you don't feel left out. But as we build towards the artificial intelligence and all those kind of things, I'm sure you will find a lot of value in the session. So, and this is what I want us to look into. But before that, again, I know there are some people who are joining us for the very first time. So again, I will start by introducing myself. As I said, my name is Dr. Benson Kiarie. A little bit about who Benson is. I've been training for the last 15 years. Most of that time, I've been training monitoring and evaluation. And in terms of education, I have a bachelor's degree in education. I have an MBA in strategic management, a PhD in strategic management, focusing on strategic resource mobilization. And that is why one of us told us that I trained them on resource mobilization and proposal writing, and they were able to get the position of country director. So I am also very, very passionate about monitoring, about resource mobilization and proposal writing, and I train on that. I am a certified public accountant, certified public secretary. I'm a certified monitoring and evaluation professional. I'm also certified in human resource management, and I'm also certified in Lean Six Sigma. I've worked within the UN setup as an education officer, training officer, branch manager, regional manager, head of business development and operations. Currently, I am the founder and CEO at Vantage Africa School of Leadership. I've been doing trainings across the continent, and I know for many of you, we have met in your countries. And so far, I've done trainings in 28 countries. I've done training in 28 countries across Africa on monitoring and evaluation. And I am coming back before the end of the year. I am coming back to your country. If you have never been trained monitoring and evaluation one-on-one, you have one final opportunity this year for you to get trained. We've trained more than 500 organizations, and we've also partnered with 4 African governments to develop the M&E systems. And the new kid on the block that we are going to be introducing into this session is something called Eval 360. We have developed Africa's first AI-enabled monitoring, evaluation, and accountability and learning system. So we are going to be talking about that in a bit, and to see how it helps us in participatory monitoring and evaluation. So that is who Benson is, and it's going to be a pleasure hosting you for today. Vantage Africa is a school of leadership. Very, very briefly, we exist to develop transformational leaders. That is why we wake up every day in the morning. We believe that the one thing that Africa is missing today is leadership. We have an amazing continent with great natural resources. We have a vibrant and young population. We have beautiful weather. And why are we left behind? It's because of leadership. That is what we believe. Okay? Advantage Africa, we decided we are not going to sit back and complain. We're going to do something about it. And therefore, in everything that we do that to develop transformational leaders. That is why we exist. Now, we believe, or our favorite definition of leadership, and I say this all the time, according to us, a leader is any person, a leader is any person who is able to translate vision into results. That is our definition of leadership. Leadership is about translating ideas into results. Now, the reason as to why that is our favorite definition is because Africa does not have a shortage of ideas. We have a shortage of execution. We do not have a deficiency of ideas. We have a deficiency of execution. Okay? And we believe that if we can have a way in which we can build people's capability to execute ideas, to turn ideas into results, then we would be able to build leaders across the continent. And we have very many programs. Now, I know there are some people who are here because you have enrolled for our online programs. If you have enrolled for the August online program on any of these, please note that your classes will start next week on Monday at 8 p.m. East African time. Okay? And I am sure that your various class coordinators are going to keep giving you guidance on that. But we thought of inviting you for today's session so that you can have an idea of how we do our session. So we have so many programs. If you want to do any of them, please let us know. So I think we've talked about that in terms of where we've been. I've been to Sierra Leone. I've seen so many people from Sierra Leone, Seychelles, but this team was from Nigeria. They are professors from ATBU University in Nigeria. We took them to Seychelles for a training on monitoring and evaluation. We've been to Namibia, Botswana, Zambia. I know there are some people who are seeing themselves here. I know there are people who are seeing themselves here and they're in class today. I've been to Ghana. We had an amazing training in Ghana, South Sudan, Tanzania, many times in Tanzania. I'm coming for the Mel conference in Tanzania next month. Nigeria, Gambia, South Africa many times, Uganda many times, Ethiopia, Rwanda, and many other countries. So we've been to more than 28 countries. Great. Now, we want to talk about monitoring and evaluation. And this is how I have structured my training. The first thing that I am going to attempt to respond to is, what exactly is this animal called monitoring and evaluation? What is it? Because I know there are some people here who are hearing about M&E for the very first time. Now, I will also talk about the differences between monitoring and evaluation. Is there a difference between the word monitoring? And is there a difference between the word monitoring and evaluation? Or is it one word? Okay, so we are going to be looking at that. We'll also look at these things, M&E. Sometimes you hear male, sometimes you hear meal. What do they mean? What are those things, really? Then I will also talk about the real why of M&E. Why exactly do we need monitoring and evaluation? I'll talk about the key concepts in M&E. Then my primary focus for today is conventional versus participatory monitoring and evaluation. What do we mean when we talk about conventional M&E? And what do we mean when we say participatory monitoring and evaluation? Okay, that is very, very key. Then we will talk about what is the role of technology and artificial intelligence in ensuring that we are conducting participatory monitoring and evaluation. For those people who are in Tanzania, I hope you have registered for the mail conference that is organized by the Prime Minister's office, because I am going to be digging, I'll be presenting there, and I'm going to be digging into this topic very deeply. How do we use artificial intelligence to promote community-led monitoring and evaluation? And what tools can we use to enhance this? And what tools can we use? What artificial intelligence tools can we use to remove the barriers that have stopped professionals from engaging in participatory monitoring and evaluation? Barriers that relate to the cost of the process, barriers that relate to the time, okay? Barriers that relate to the capacity and those kind of things. How can we use artificial intelligence to throw those barriers out of the window? And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And we're also going to be mentioning that today. So the first thing that I want us to look at is, what is the difference between monitoring and evaluation? What is the difference between monitoring and evaluation? Now, I first of all want to hear from one of us. Is there a difference between monitoring and evaluation? And I am seeing somebody called Gatkuoth. Gatkuoth Leah. Gatkuoth, are you with us?
Yes, doctor.
How are you doing today?
I am very, very, very good, doctor.
Now tell me, according to you, is there a difference between monitoring and evaluation, or are they the same?
Based on my knowledge, they are completely different.
Okay.
Monitoring is a systematic process, while this is monitoring. Evaluation is a periodic.
Evaluation is periodic, right?
Yes.
Okay.
As simple as that.
So
they have different.
Wait a minute. You said evaluation is periodic, right?
Yes. Yes.
How about monitoring?
Monitoring is a systematic process.
It's a systematic process. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Let me hear from from Ibra. Ibra, I see your hand is up. What is the difference?
What I mean is that when I say it's a systematic process, it means it's a continuous.
Continuous. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Let me hear from Ibra. Thank you. Let me hear from Ibra.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Teja and Ibrahim from Somalia. The difference between monitoring and evaluation: monitoring is a day-to-day tracking on activities or what you are doing, while evaluation is a periodic, like my friend told, and it can be quarterly, annually, by quarterly, and it always looks at the impact. While monitoring is a corrective measures, focused on correcting measures.
Okay. Gloria Gaza, do you agree with Ibra?
Yes, I just want to add that monitoring is that continuous tracking of the project cycle. Meanwhile, evaluation is carried out to verify if actually the project or the target population or the beneficiaries have been reached, and if they are happy with the project, and if the project will also be sustainable. So yeah.
Absolutely. I think I think that is a very good description in terms of the differences between monitoring and evaluation. Now, this is what we have said. We have said that monitoring is routine. I think that is what we have said. And we have said that evaluation is periodic, and we are right. All of us are right. However, I always tell my students, there is no way, after having been trained by Vantage Africa School of Leadership, there is no way I would allow you to stop here when you're talking about the differences between monitoring and evaluation. We always go beyond that. We always go beyond simply talking about monitoring being routine and evaluation being periodic, because we talk about the differences between monitoring and evaluation from 5 perspectives: from the perspective of frequency, from the perspective of focus, from the perspective of analysis, from the perspective of utilization, and from the perspective of responsibility. So do not allow yourself to leave this training without a very deep understanding of the differences between monitoring and evaluation from these perspectives. If there is one thing that you must go home with, okay, you're already home, but you must go away with from this training, is a detailed description in terms of the differences between monitoring and evaluation. Now, in terms of frequency, what are the differences? We have been told this: monitoring is continuous, while evaluation is periodic. Monitoring is continuous, while evaluation is periodic. So that is straightforward. That is, all of us, we know that. But where the real difference between monitoring and evaluation comes in is at the level of focus. And we usually say monitoring focuses on inputs, it focuses on processes, and it focuses on outputs. Evaluation, on the other hand, what does evaluation focus on? Evaluation focuses on outcomes and impact. Evaluation focuses on outcomes and impact. Now, let's give an example so that we can see these differences. Now, I want you to visualize this project. And we imagine we want to build 20 water tanks in Juba. Why? So we want to build 20 water tanks in Juba. 20 water tanks. Why do we want to build 20 water tanks? To reduce prevalence of waterborne diseases by 30%. Assuming that is our project. When we are implementing this project, what will we consider to be monitoring and what will we consider to be evaluation? Now, the first thing that we need to do is to develop something called the logic model. Now, I am going to be, for those people I have trained, you understand that we usually develop, every person selects a case study project. All my students, that is what they do. You will select a case study project and you will develop a logic model. We will do that together. Okay, and as I said, I will be giving you the date when I am coming to your country for the 3-day physical training. My hope is that you're going to register and you're going to come. So when you come for that training, one of the things that you're going to do is that you're going to select a case study like this, and then you will develop an entire M&E plan for it. So when we talk about a logic model, we usually start with input all the way down there. And I want to hear what else we usually bring after input. Now, let me hear from, I don't know whether Saka Mathias is with us. Saka Mathias. Saka Mathias can't hear me. Could somebody shout after input? What do we usually bring? Double. Alpha sign it double.
Activities.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Activities.
Activities. Good. Aha. After activities, shout it.
Output.
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 Correct. After output, shout it.
Outcome.
Outcome. And after outcome,
Impact.
Impact.
yeah. So it is impact.
You're going to be recovering the money. And that
If
typically takes.
if you are in East Africa, it is impact. If you are in South Africa, it is impact. Impact. So it depends on where you, which part of the continent you're in. All right. Okay, so we talked about inputs, activity, output, outcome, and impact. Now, could somebody shout for me one input we would need for this project? Just one. Give it a go. One input.
Water tanks.
People.
Water
We need
tanks.
Do we need water tanks to build water tanks?
We need money. We need money.
Money. Is money an
More money.
We need people.
I think we need
Yes.
resources.
Yes. Resources.
Resources.
Is there a
Skilled
difference
person.
between money and
material.
We need money.
cash.
But money is part of the resources. Money is part of the resources that we needed. So we need money.
We need cash.
We need money.
Okay.
We need cash, not money.
Dr. Benson,
We need cash, not
we
money.
need human resource. Human resource.
Now. I
We
want
need
you to
materials.
find out. I want you to go and find out whether money is actually an input. Because
It's a resource.
The implements.
We have human.
sorry, I muted. I want you to imagine that we are listing down the inputs. And therefore we say our inputs are land, building materials, foreman, and then we put money as number 4. That money, when we have money, we're using that money to buy the land. And therefore, if we put land and we put money, aren't we repeating ourselves? Or we say building materials and money. Now, my question is it really money that you need? Or is it the things that money can buy. By the way, did you know that you cannot build a tank using money? You cannot build a tank using money. You have to translate that money into cement. Otherwise, if you have money, but there's nowhere you can find cement, you will not get a tank. And therefore, our inputs are the things that money can buy. You cannot build a house using money. You take that money, you go give somebody else the money because you don't need the money. So you give someone else the money. That someone gives you cement because it is the cement you need, not the money. All right. So an input is that thing which money can buy. But some people usually tell me, Benson, sometimes we call people for meeting and we have to give them a refund for transport. And therefore we give them the money. And therefore in our case, the product, the thing that we are actually giving out is money. In that case, would we say that money is an input? If we are putting money in an envelope and giving it out. Or for organizations like I know of an organization called Give Directly that does, cash, transfer or something like that. In that case, is money an input? And I would say, is it money that is an input or is it cash? Is it money that is an input or is it cash? Is there a difference between money and cash? Is it possible for you to say, you know what, I have money, but I don't have cash? It's possible. It's possible for you to tell me, Benson, I have money, but I don't have cash. And therefore, cash is different from money. So I know some people, put money as an input, they put budget as an input and all those kind of things. But, and I don't want to condemn anyone for that, but I want you to think critically whether if we added money here, whether we would actually be repeating ourselves. Okay? So that's very, very important. Great. Now, I want to hear again, could someone shout to me the key activity that we are doing in this project? What is the key activity?
Processes.
Instructions of 20 water tanks.
This process
Construction of 20.
Building 20 water tanks.
Building tanks or constructing water tanks. Correct. Could somebody give me the output of this project?
Well, 20 water tanks.
These water bonifications constructed.
Aha.
Providing water to the community.
Okay.
20 water tanks built.
Amazing. Yes. Now you need to understand what an output.
Providing water to the community, Dr. Benson.
No. What you have given me is an outcome. Is not an output. An output, listen to this. Listen to this. Everyone stay muted and listen to this. An output is the result that can be guaranteed as a result of our activity.
Input.
Not input, activity. An output is that result which can be guaranteed as a result of our activity. Once we finish our activity and we are dusting our hands and we are going home, then we look back. What is that thing that we see which we can touch? That thing which we see, which we can touch, no, we still don't have water. After completing the activity, what we have is not water.
The water tank.
It's 20 water tanks.
It is the 20 water tanks. Now, tell me, could somebody shout, what is the outcome?
30% reduction in waterborne disease prevalence.
No, the results is water.
Very, very good.
Reduction of prevalence of waterborne disease by 30%.
Water.
Because it should be smart.
I think it's better.
Enough water.
The outcome would be the water, the clean water will be the outcome. Having a clean water.
Proportion of the population having access to clean water.
Reduction.
Okay, all right. Sorry for muting. Sorry for muting you. But I've had you. I've had. Now, listen to this. Listen to this. When you want to know what your outcome is, you should look at your output and ask yourself the question, why? Why were we building the water tanks? Now, let me go down a little bit. Just a minute, let me go down a little bit. We were trying to create an output from an activity. When somebody gives you an activity and they tell you, create an output for me, you look at that activity and you ask yourself, how many? When you answer that question, you are able to get your output. When you have an output and you want to build an outcome from it, you look at the output and you ask yourself, why? So if you look at this project here and you look at what we were doing, I want to ensure you are unmuted. Why were we building the water tanks?
To collect water.
No.
To reduce waterborne diseases by 30% in Juba.
Hello.
Reduce the prevalence of waterborne diseases by 30%.
Water quality.
Rejection.
To provide clean water to the community.
Provide clean water to the community.
Hello. Mr. Benson.
To get clean water.
The water tank was built because the community was
can we please understand the concept first?
To get clean water.
Just talking like that.
Available for the community.
Clean water.
Now, I want you to look at this project very nicely. Imagine we want to build 20 water tanks in Juba to reduce the prevalence of waterborne diseases by 30%. Now remember, we need to ask ourselves, when you look at the project, what is the main purpose why we were doing whatever we were doing? And the project tells us the main purpose was not to provide water. Provision of water was a means to an end. Let me say that again. Provision of water, if we look at the project, provision of water was not an end in itself. It was a means that would help us achieve another purpose. What is this purpose? this purpose is to reduce prevalence of waterborne diseases. Now, why is this important in monitoring and evaluation? Listen to me. Why is this important in monitoring and evaluation? Because if you were to build the tanks and get water to the community, and the community has a lot of water now, but the prevalence of waterborne diseases is not reducing, it is going up, you have failed. Even if the community has water. Why? Because when you are setting out to build those tanks, your primary objective was to reduce the prevalence of waterborne diseases. So if you provide water, clean water, but the prevalence of waterborne diseases is still going up, you know what that means? You know what it means? It means you did a poor job in determining the root cause of increase in waterborne diseases. The cause of waterborne diseases was not lack of tanks. And that is why we say, if you don't really look at the real why that made you set up that project, then you're going to have a challenge for that. So when we talk about the outcome of the project, we are asking ourselves, what was the purpose of the project? In fact, the outcome is usually called the result that comes at the purpose level of the project. Okay? And that is what the outcome is all about. Great. Now, I want to know about the impact. And I want to know, when we talk about the impact, we talk about the Sustainable Development Goal. Now, which SDG is our project contributing to? Shoot it.
Access to clean water.
Good health and well-being.
Human well-being.
Good health and well-being.
Who said
Everyone
that?
has a right to have clean water.
Who said good health and well-being? Just say your name.
Sisiwe.
Sisiwe. Now, Sisiwe, tell me, why not
satisfaction?
Why not access to clean water? Why did you say good health instead of access to clean water?
Safe water
Good
supply.
health.
Safe water supply.
Sorry. I want to hear from Sisiwe. Everyone's saying it. Yes.
They can have access to clean water, but still have the waterborne disease prevalence.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but it's very rare for them to have clean water,
mm-hmm.
to have good health and well-being with unclean water.
Okay. Now,
Dr. Impact is a high level.
It's high level. Talk to me. High level.
It's high level, so we can contribute, but we cannot achieve it. It is something that we need to contribute rather than achieving it.
Absolutely. I totally agree. So when we talk about and that is really not an impact, it's a goal. We do not contribute to the impact, we contribute to the goal. But let me give me a minute so that I am able to give us, this distinction. We can say that our impact is access to clean water. Listen to this. We can say that our impact is access to clean water. But why would that be wrong? That would be wrong because we do not get our impact from the output. We get our impact from the outcome. When we are deciding the impact, we do not ask ourselves, what will the output give us? No. we ask ourselves, what will the outcome give us? And therefore, by reducing prevalence of waterborne diseases, if we reduce prevalence of waterborne diseases for many years, that does not give us clean water. It gives us good health. Okay? And therefore, our impact becomes good health and well-being. So that is goal number 3 in the SDGs, not goal number 6, because goal number 6 is, I think, clean water and sanitation, something like that. Goal number 3 is good health and well-being. So when we will be, because I know many of you will be joining me in the training that will be coming up in your countries, you are going to develop something like this. And you know, we are going to now get very, very deep into these things, and I'll give you guidance practically. So remember, and I don't want us to lose track, what are we doing? We are deciding what is the difference between monitoring and evaluation. And we said that the first 3 items are taken care of by monitoring. The last 2 items are taken care of by evaluation. Okay? Now, what does this mean? This means that your project has 2 parts. Your project has what you are doing, and it has why you are doing it. Okay? Your project has what you are doing and why you are doing it. The first 3 items, that is input, activity, and output, talks about what you are doing. What are you doing? You are building tanks. The last 2 items are talking about why you are doing it. Why are you building tanks? To reduce prevalence of waterborne diseases. And once we reduce the prevalence of waterborne diseases, we achieve good health and well-being. So when we are talking about what we are doing, we are dealing with monitoring. When we are talking about why we are doing it, we are dealing with evaluation. When we are building the tanks, when we are asking ourselves, how long did it take for us to build the tanks? How many they are? What is the capacity of the tank? What we are doing at that point, we are doing monitoring. When we complete building the tanks and we hand them over and we go home, the work of monitoring stops. Now we start evaluation. And we start asking, you know what evaluation people ask? Guys, tell me, why were we building the tanks again? Okay, why were we doing it? Then someone comes and says, oh, we were building the tanks in order to reduce prevalence of waterborne diseases. So evaluation people, they will now go to the local hospital and ask. They will ask the hospital administrator, tell us, before those tanks were built, how many cases of waterborne diseases were you recording per day or per month or per week? And the hospital administrator will tell you, every week we used to record 100 cases on average. So the evaluation person will take a pen and paper and they will record that. But nowadays, let me stop misleading you. We don't do papers nowadays. We have, apps that you can use. So you will put that on your app. So you'll ask again, how about after we built the tanks? How many cases are you recording now per week? We know you used to record 100. How about now? Then the hospital administrator will tell you, looking at the records, we are only recording 50. We used to record 100. Now we are recording 50. And therefore, there has been a 50% reduction in the prevalence of waterborne diseases. Of course, maybe we may not call that prevalence. We'll call it average at some point. But let's call it a prevalence for now. Then another question that the evaluation person will ask, okay, guys, before we start celebrating that we have reduced prevalence of waterborne diseases by 50%, is it true that it is our tanks that have given us that reduction? Is it really, listen to this, is it really our tanks that have given us that reduction? Or maybe there was another NGO somewhere that was teaching people how to wash hands, and as a result of washing hands, that is why the reduction has happened. Because it is possible for you to build tanks, and you've done a very good job in building the tanks, but those tanks don't have water we don't have water to put there. So the tanks are very nice, they are beautiful, they are awesome, very well painted, very well branded, but they don't have water inside. But when we go to the hospital, there's a reduction in prevalence of waterborne diseases. Can we go celebrating? Say, hey, how we build tanks, and then there's a reduction in water? And no, you don't do that, because your tanks are not the ones that give us a reduction in the prevalence of waterborne diseases. Okay? So when we talk about the differences between monitoring and evaluation, we are saying monitoring focuses on the product. Listen to this. Monitoring focuses on the product. Evaluation focuses on the purpose. Let me say that again. Monitoring focuses on the product. Evaluation focuses on the purpose. I know that many organizations, and I hope none of them are represented here, we stop at monitoring level. We simply tell people we build 20 water tanks. We want people to clap for us. We want people to celebrate. And then we stop there and we go to the next activity. We stop there, we go to the next. We don't stop to ask, what was the purpose of building these tanks? And to what extent has our product given us the purpose? And my hope, we are 500 of us in today's class. None of us is going to stop at the level of monitoring. And I am going to give you the tools that will help you to move from simply monitoring to go into evaluation. So that is the second difference between monitoring and evaluation. And in my opinion, the most important, and I think that, it's very, very important for us to understand this. And we are going to discuss more for those who are taking progressing with me with the monitoring and evaluation training. We will go a little bit further. Would you like to become a certified monitoring and evaluation professional? My name is Dr. Benson Kiarie, CEO at Vantage Africa School of Leadership, and I have trained more than 10,000 M&E professionals from 27 countries in Africa. And this is your turn. You see, Africa is now embracing the value of monitoring, evaluation, and learning. I have assisted hundreds of organizations and even governments to develop their M&E systems. Today, being a certified M&E professional opens a myriad of doors for you in your career growth. As an organization, your ability to measure impact accurately and report them powerfully will not only improve the performance of your programs, it will also attract key development partners, including donors. Every stakeholder wants to ensure that there exists a robust mechanism to both measure and report performance accurately, as this improves both impact and accountability in all our programming. Now, I have organized for one more training this year where I will come and meet you in person on this particular date. Now, this is how we handle our trainings. I will first of all come and meet you for 3 days one-on-one training. During these 3 days, we are going to handle all the concepts that you need to know about monitoring and evaluation, and it is going to be 100% practical. We are not going to do anything theory. Monitoring and evaluation has nothing to do with what you know. M&E is about what you can do, because when you go to the field, nobody wants to know what you know. People want to ask, can you deliver results? So you're going to come up with a case study project, and by using this case study project, you're going to learn everything that you need to learn regarding monitoring and evaluation. You're going to develop an entire M&E plan with all its components, including the logical framework, theory of change, performance monitoring plan, performance evaluation plan, data quality plans, M&E reports, and anything else that you need to learn on monitoring and evaluation. It is going to be 100% practical. And this is what sets us apart as Vantage Africa, a school of leadership. We do not do theory, because we need to ensure that by the end of the training, you have the confidence. If you find a consultancy out there that requires an M&E professional, you're competent enough and you're confident enough to apply for it and deliver results. After the 3 days training, we will continue meeting online for 3 months. We will be meeting every Tuesday evening for 2 hours for continuous professional development. We believe that learning does not end when you get a certificate. In fact, according to me, that's when it starts. Professionals study more than students. After the 3 months, you will qualify to become a full member of Vantage Africa M&E Professionals Association, or VAMEPA. If you'd like to be part of this transformational training, simply click the link below, and I'm going to provide you with all the information regarding the training, including a comprehensive training schedule for you to review. We're also going to hold several online sessions before the training date. We want to meet with you before we have that physical training, so that we can explain more about the course, we can answer all your questions, and we can share some materials with you in advance. If you want to be part of those online sessions, give me your details through the link that I have shared, and I'm going to send you the meeting link on your email. You can also reach me on this phone number or this email address, and I'll be very, very happy to engage with you. I am so looking forward to meeting you during that training.
The course has been very fantastic. One cannot do away with.
This training has been an impactful one.
Training was quite interactive.
It was worth participating. Monitoring and evaluation training was splendid.
Transformative.
Very practical.
It's been hands-on, more practical.
A very lively program.
Now, I know many of you will be sponsored by your organizations. For the trainings that I have held, and I have held so many trainings, as I said, 27 countries across Africa. A large majority of my participants have been sponsored by their organization. If you will be sponsored by your organization, please let me know, because we usually have a special package for those organizations that are bringing 5 participants or more. We're going to be giving you a 5% discount. So if your organization will be sponsoring 5 of you or more, we're going to give you a 5% discount on the total amount that you're supposed to pay. Please forward this video to those people who you know might be interested. You never know, you might end up changing their lives. For me, the people who have impacted me the most are the people who have recommended some trainings that have changed my life completely. So, you know somebody who might be interested in this training, please forward this video to them. And by the way, we usually have a package where if you can refer 5 participants to join us, you will do the training for free. I look forward to seeing you, first of all, in the online sessions. Please come for the online sessions. It's going to be awesome. You will meet people who have already gone through this training before you. And finally, I would love to see you during the physical training, where we are going to engage one-on-one and learn and become certified M&E professionals. I look forward to seeing you, and it's been a pleasure hosting you for this engagement. Thank you very much, and see you in class. Great. So we said the first difference between monitoring and evaluation is that monitoring, the frequency, monitoring is continuous, evaluation is periodic. Focus, we've said monitoring focuses on inputs, processes, and outputs, while evaluation focuses on outcomes and impact. The third difference is in terms of analysis. How do we do our analysis when we are doing monitoring, and how do we do our analysis when we are doing evaluation? How do we do that? So one of the things that we will get into, and I don't want to go deeper into this because this is a key, component in the training. Great. Now, when we talk about the key concepts in monitoring and evaluation, this is how we usually do it. One of the things I've come to realize is that when people are learning monitoring and evaluation, the biggest challenge is that we get too theoretical sometimes. We get too theoretical. I have trained people who have done a master's degree in M&E. A master's degree in M&E. And but even with the master's degree, they still don't feel confident to actually go to the field to carry out consultancies. This is because, as I said in that video, monitoring and evaluation is not about what you know. It's about what you can do. The way you learn M&E is the same way you learn how to swim. If you are to learn how to swim by attending lectures like today, and then somebody tells you, well, I have taught you how to swim, I have given you Zoom recordings on how to swim, now go and swim, you are going to drown. And therefore, we do not, and this is a strategy that you need to use. Do not try to only focus on your knowledge. Focus on your competencies. Focus on what you can do. So when we talk about you being a certified monitoring and evaluation professional, what do we mean? We mean that you have demonstrated competence in a number of areas. And for me, I usually have a list of competencies that you must demonstrate before I sign your certificate. I must check, can you be able to develop, for example, a logical framework? And I will come and check. I'll give you, you will select a case study project, and I will tell you, develop a logical framework for me. We are going to refine it and refine it until I am sure that you can actually be able to do that. Can you develop a theory of change? And then we are going to go, step by step until I confirm that you can do that. Can you develop, can you do an M&E report? Can you do an M&E plan? All those things. Once we tick all those items, now I can release you. And even if somebody calls me to give a referral or something like that, I will do that with confidence. Okay. And therefore, for those who want to take up a monitoring and evaluation course, wherever you want to take it, I would strongly encourage that you focus on developing competencies rather than increasing knowledge. When you go to the field to do monitoring and evaluation, nobody will ask you about the advantages and disadvantages of a logical framework. No one will ask you that. They don't want to know. The only thing they want to know is, can you develop a logical framework for this project? I was engaging someone, a very senior person in Rwanda, and they were telling me, Benson, I am about to lose my job. You have to help me. I did an amazing CV, and I got this very big job. And I said that I am an M&E professional. But now when I got into the office, they give me 10 countries, the project for 10 countries, to design an M&E system. I have no idea where to start. So they were telling me, I'll pay you anything just to, either do it for me or teach me very fast how to do that. So I would really want encourage all of us that when we are dealing with monitoring and evaluation, let us focus on a practical concept. So when we talk about these key concepts, what do we actually do? When, for example, we are talking about baseline, we do not define baseline in our trainings. And those people I have trained, you can bear me witness. What you do is you get a case study project, and then you develop a baseline for us. For example, and I want to give this as an example. Let's assume that I want to increase employment rate among the youth from 40% to 70% by December 2027. Employment rate among the youth maybe in Nairobi from 40% to 70%. Now, I want to know, sorry, I muted you for too long. Now it's time for us to unmute, and I have enabled you to unmute. Now, I want somebody to tell me, what is our baseline for this project? What is our baseline figure?
40%.
40%.
40%. Very good. 40%. Because 40%, that is where we are starting from. Now, right on that, what is our indicator for this?
You increase employment rate.
Employment of youth.
Increase in employment rate, employment of youth.
Employment rate.
70%.
Increase employment by 50%.
Number of youth employed by the government
by 2027.
70%.
20% is the indicator.
Yes.
Employment rate.
Now. Let me
Percentage of youth
employment rate.
blah,
It's simply the
blah, blah.
employment of the youth. That is our indicator because it indicates that everything is.
Okay. Now, when you want to know what your indicator is, you must ask yourself, what am I trying to increase? When you answer that question, then you have your indicator. For example, in our case here, what are we trying to increase? We are increasing or trying to increase the employment rate, maybe among the youth. Okay? So we can say employment rate among the youth, but really, in terms of measuring our indicator is employment rate. Now, please remember, let me say this. I need 100% of your attention. The indicator is not increase in employment rate. An indicator should not have the words increase or decrease. And I need somebody to help me understand, why should an indicator avoid the words increase or decrease? Let me hear from someone.
It's a measurement instrument.
Because it's a measurement which
it's a measurement instrument to show us the progress.
I didn't get you, Mohammed.
Should it be neutral?
Say that again.
It's a measurement. It's measurement instrument that we gauge the progress or success we are looking for.
Correct. An indicator is supposed to be neutral.
Yes. Yeah, Dr. Benson is supposed to be neutral because there's a possibility that your result, even though you won a 30% increment, there will be a possibility that you will even achieve lesser than 70%. So instead of increment, there will be a decrease. So it should be neutral, and the result will tell whether the indicator is an increase or a decrease.
Perfect. Before I let you, is that Dash?
Yeah, this is Dash from Liberia.
Talk to me. What is the target for this project?
So
let me
target
hear Dash first.
The target for this project is 70%. So we are looking for 30% increment.
Correct. 70%. 70%. Correct. So the target is 70%.
70%.
Correct. So, and you can design all the other concepts, the goal. You can come up with an objective. You can come up with an output. And these are things that we are going to look into when we talk about monitoring and evaluation, output, input. What are inputs for this project? So we don't define inputs. What we do, we ask ourselves, if we want to implement this project, what inputs will we need? What are the results? What do we mean by results? What is the outcome for this project? What is the impact? What are the activities? What are the assumptions? So when we will be doing our sessions, I wouldn't want to go into all of this because of time. But these are things that we get into. These are things that we delve very deeply into, and in the context of developing our M&E plan, we talk about all of them. What we mean by sustainability and those kind of things. So we are going to be very, very keen in terms of understanding the key concepts in monitoring and evaluation. What I always say is, when we talk about the key concepts in M&E, we talk about the language of M&E. What is the language of monitoring and evaluation? Okay? What is the language? What language do M&E people use? You know, when you're in a room full of M&E people, these are the things they keep talking about. So it is very important to intimately understand these concepts to ensure that you understand monitoring and evaluation. So that is going to be very, very important. So allow me to stop there in terms of the concepts and move on to the rationale. This is going to take just a few minutes. Now, people always ask us as monitoring and evaluation professionals, they ask us, why should we invest in M&E? Earlier today, I was coaching a certain organization that has been funded by the African Union. So this organization is, starting its journey into monitoring and evaluation. So what happens is that they've come to me and they've told me, Benson, be our coach, hold our hands. And the biggest challenge that they were facing is the challenge of selling monitoring and evaluation to the stakeholders. How do we explain that we really need this M&E? How do we convince the board to set aside money for monitoring and evaluation? Okay. Now, as an M&E professional, and this, my thinking is that most of us, this is the journey we have started because we want to become certified M&E professionals. As a certified M&E professional, you must be able to understand exactly why we need M&E. You must be able to understand that. You must be able to explain with clarity. It is your job. And we had an M&E person in the team that I was coaching. And I was telling him, it is your job as the person in charge of M&E to articulate the reason why we need monitoring and evaluation. So I want to take just a few minutes to see how well do we understand the value of monitoring and evaluation. Now, I always give this example because I found it very intriguing. I was talking to a friend of mine who is a CEO of a major organization, and I was telling them, you need to come up with an M&E system for your organization. And he was telling me, Dr. Benson, I don't believe in monitoring and evaluation. Asked him why. And he told me, imagine you're a donor. You give me money to build a tank. And I have built the tank. And you can see the tank. It is here. You can see it. Why do I need to set aside more money to monitor and evaluate that tank? You gave me money to build a tank. The tank is there. You can even touch it. Why do I need to set aside more money to monitor that tank and evaluate it? I'd rather use that money to buy pipes or to roof the tank or to fence it. Why should I monitor and evaluate the tank when it has already been built? Now, I want to know, what would you tell my friend? I need somebody to convince my friend. Yes, talk to me.
Let me try.
That is Mohammed Ibrahim,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Yes, Mohammed. Help me convince my friend that they need M&E for this project.
Yeah, because, if we don't have monitoring and evaluation, we cannot measure our progress.
So we are struggling to hear you, Mohammed. I don't know I don't know if it's network on your end.
And
Hello.
Okay. We may have to mute.
Just mute him because he's network.
We'll come back to you, Mohammed. We'll come back to you. There's somebody else who wanted to mention something. Who was that?
Hello.
I had a lady's voice. Wait a minute. I had a lady's voice.
Can I say something?
A minute. There's a lady who wanted to say something. Okay. She's disappeared. All right. Talk to us. Someone wanted to, yes.
Hello. Really, I want to know where the training will be conducted. In Sierra Leone here or which country? Please let me know.
Okay. I will respond to all of that. But for now, let's first of all finish this, and then I'll give an opportunity to ask questions with regard to when I am coming to your country, because I'm coming to most of your countries. I'm coming there. The dates, I will give you the dates. I will give you the venue and all those kind of things once we are done with this. Now, Gloria, talk to me. I want to hear, how would you convince my friend to invest in monitoring and evaluation?
Yeah, I would make him understand the tank is here. It is already constructed. First of all, we want to know if there's even water in the tank. And second, are they actually using the water in the tank? This is another thing that he needs to know, that is like through monitoring. And then again, maybe we can look at things like access and so on. So is there clean water? There could be water, but is the water clean? Is it accessible? Is it usable? So these are the things. And then we want to evaluate, because we build tank for a reason. The reason is what we want to evaluate. Has the reason subsided or not? And if it is subsided, is it just because of the presence of the tank, or there could be other factors which has also contributed to the reduction of why the tank was constructed?
Absolutely. So this tank was not built for decoration. It wasn't. It was built for a reason. And we must ask ourselves, to what extent is this tank achieving the reason for which it was actually built? So the first reason why we need monitoring and evaluation is to identify the bottlenecks that hinder a project in achieving its objectives. Now, I usually have a mantra, and I'm going to write down my mantra in monitoring and evaluation here. And I always say, listen to this. It is okay to fail. It is not okay to not know why we failed. It is okay to fail. It is not okay to not know why we failed. Benson, we wanted to build 20 water tanks. We only built 10. Okay, you failed, fine. Why did you fail? We don't know. That is wrong. If you do not know why you failed, you have no business being entrusted with the task of correcting that failure. Monitoring and evaluation tells us why we failed, if indeed we failed. It also tells us why we might fail and why we might succeed. Success, another thing. Success doesn't really help us until we know why we succeeded. Because when we know why we succeeded, that means that we can replicate that success. We wanted to reduce drug abuse by 10%. We reduced by 50%. So that was a huge success. Why did we succeed? I don't know. That is a wrong answer. You should know why you succeeded. In order for you to replicate that success, you should know why you succeeded. So there are so many other benefits of monitoring and evaluation, which I will not go into in terms of accountability, strategic management, results or impact assessment, operational management. We are going to go through this with those who are going to join us for the session. So project design, strategy, and all those kind of things. So because of time, you will allow me not to go into all those so that we can finalize this bit. So we always say that which you cannot measure, you cannot improve. If you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it. Great. The last thing that I want to talk about is what is called participatory evaluation method. Now, when we talk about participatory evaluation method, we like, and I want 100% of your attention here. What do we mean when we say participatory evaluation method? You are the M&E professional for this particular project. And one of your jobs, one of your responsibilities is to come up with indicators. Assume that. Just assume that one of the things that you're supposed to do is to come up with indicators. There are two ways you can come up with an indicator. Two ways. The first way, you can lock yourself in a room. You lock yourself in a room, you scratch your head until you figure out the best indicator. That is the first approach. The second approach is you can go and collect, put together the stakeholders. You bring them on a table and you ask them, by the way, guys, let's discuss this. What do you think would be the best indicator of success in our project? The village elder says one thing. The parents, if it is a school, the parents, one of the parents suggests something. The teacher suggests something. And you hold a discussion until you together agree that for this project, this is the best indicator. Now, that is participatory monitoring and evaluation. All right? Where M&E does not belong to M&E professionals alone, but it belongs to all the stakeholders. So your job as an M&E professional within that whole scenario is to create an environment where everyone is able to make meaningful contribution. And when we talk about participatory M&E methods, we're saying that your job as an M&E professional is facilitating the process. Now, we can talk the whole day in terms of the value of involving everyone in monitoring and evaluation. We can talk the whole day on that. And I believe I don't think there is anyone here who would question the value of involving the community in monitoring and evaluation. You build very strong ownership, very, very strong ownership for the project. So participation or participatory monitoring and evaluation is geared not only towards measuring the effectiveness of the project, but it also helps build ownership and empower beneficiaries. It helps in building accountability and transparency. It helps in taking corrective action to improve performance and outcomes. So we are not simply finding out whether we achieved our objectives or not. We go beyond that, okay, into building ownership, empowering beneficiaries, accountability, and all those kind of things. And we have the core principles of participatory monitoring and evaluation, which are like primary stakeholders are active participants, not just sources of information. We are going to go deeply into these things. And when we do our face-to-face M&E training, one of the things that we are going to do is I'm going to give you the methods. What methods can you use to ensure that participatory M&E succeeds? There's building capacity of local people, there is joint learning of stakeholders at various levels, and there is catalyzing a commitment into taking corrective action. I don't want to go too deep into that. And now we have what is called participatory learning and action. Now, PLA is one of the most popular methods of participatory monitoring and evaluation. So it's almost synonymous. PLA is almost synonymous to participatory monitoring and evaluation. And what we are saying is that it is an umbrella term, and it brings things like rural participatory appraisal, rapid rural appraisal, participatory learning methods, participatory action research, and many others. So I don't want to go into this. We are going to go into them later on. And also, there is what we have learned, which I don't want to go into that. Now, this is the question I want us to ask ourselves. Why do professionals fail to adopt participatory monitoring, evaluation, and learning? We have 3 key barriers. The first one is it is time consuming. Very time consuming. The second one is it is costly. It costs a lot. The third one is capacity gaps. We don't even know how to do it. Do we know how to do it really? We don't even know how to do it. We don't know how to collect it. We don't know how to engage these 80-year-old men and women in the villages in a way that is more, effective. We don't know. And these are the key barriers. These are the key barriers to participatory monitoring and evaluation. So in as much as participatory monitoring and evaluation is a huge blessing, it is an amazing thing, we still don't do it because of this. So the question that we need to ask ourselves is, and this is a question that we will be answering, how can artificial intelligence, listen to this, how can artificial intelligence remove these barriers for us so that we can continue enjoying the benefits of participatory monitoring and evaluation? How can we take advantage of artificial intelligence. And this is what I want to mention in the next few minutes. So artificial intelligence can help us remove these barriers. It can help us remove these barriers. How can we do it? Now, what is the promise of AI in participatory monitoring and evaluation? The traditional challenge, like we have said, is that we have expensive workshops, delayed feedback, manual data analysis. When we use AI in participatory M&E, it is faster, it is cheaper, we have inclusive data collection and inclusive data analysis. And then one of the key enablers, one of those things that we need to take advantage of, I don't know whether we know the concept of SWOT analysis. When you're doing a SWOT analysis to determine whether you want to adopt artificial intelligence in participatory monitoring and evaluation, there is something we are saying is a key enabler here. The widespread smartphone use among communities. Now, I don't know whether we have research. I don't know whether in your country there's any research that has been done with regard to smartphone penetration among communities. Let me unmute us for 1 minute. I hear whether there is anyone who has any data. Could somebody help us? Is there anyone with any data regarding the percentage of the population that has access to smartphones?
Okay.
Simon, is that Simon?
Okay. Yeah, that's Simon, but why?
Yes, Simon. Any data that is available out there?
Sorry?
Is there any data that is available that shows the penetration of smartphones in communities?
Yeah. Actually, in South Sudan, let me take a part of inquiry. First of all, thank you. The protocol remain observed. Let me take example in South Sudan, part of Tori, part of Eastern Equatoria, Tori. The penetration of the smartphone was let me say 90% of youth. 90% of youth are having the smartphone, and 90% they're having access to smartphone. Reason why is because the availability of education and the availability of modernization and Western life has really input into life of people, and people are really using smartphones because it is easier and it is faster and it's not time consuming, and everything can be done through it. You can store your things, you can photo, you can put evidence, you can create emails, you can associate, you can use video calls, you can do a lot of things, Facebook and a lot of things. That's why a lot of youth, including adults who are not yet introduced to this, they're always having chance to be introduced into this. This is what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Simon. Anyone else who has the data in their country regarding a smartphone? Is that let me see who this one. Delphine Muhizi. Any data from your country?
The situation in Rwanda, the current statistics,
yes,
shows that we are at the smartphone penetration in Rwanda is at 34%.
Okay.
But this is per household.
Per household.
Yes.
Okay. 34%. How about phones in general? Do you have the data?
In Rwanda?
Mm-hmm.
I need to check, but the phone, not smartphone, but just phone,
mm-hmm.
Phone I need to check. I had put aside some data.
All right. Leaders. Samson,
Yeah.
I'm saying Samson. Thank you, Delphine.
It's almost 80 to 85%. That's phone. That's Rwanda situation.
Absolutely, it's
huge. Yeah.
I actually don't think there are communities where people struggle today, at least with a phone. Okay, so when we talk about phones, even if it's not a smartphone, you realize that the penetration is very, very, very high. So that is a key enabler. So because almost everyone has a phone, participatory monitoring and evaluation is going to be very easy for us. And the use of artificial intelligence is going to really help us bring together more people into our monitoring and evaluation journey. So the first thing that I want to mention is with artificial intelligence, we can have mobile surveys in local languages. Artificial intelligence is able to translate from local languages. Okay, so AI translation for survey creation and community responses. Then there is also voice to text for low literacy participants. You can have someone, they are 80 years old, they have a phone, and there's a survey, and they don't have, they don't have the ability to type all the responses, but they can have a conversation with the phone. And with artificial intelligence, we are able to even ask follow-up questions. And this 80-year-old man or 80-year-old lady is doing this survey while seated on their couch. You didn't have to pay for their hotel or for their transport or whatever it is. You're just using the phone that they already have. So by doing that, we are able to use artificial intelligence to reach more people when it comes to monitoring and evaluation. And these are key benefits that we are seeing today in artificial intelligence. The other thing is instant quality checks. Artificial intelligence is able to detect inconsistencies or incomplete responses. Previously, we would need to hire a huge number of people to check those inconsistencies and incomplete responses. Today, we can do it instantly. Okay? And therefore, we do not, and one of the things that I keep telling people today is we do not have any excuse for failing to get people to participate in monitoring and evaluation. We have fewer physical workshops. We have more digital engagement. So when we're talking about this digital engagement, your job, and this is what I want to put to you, your job as a monitoring and evaluation professional in the age of artificial intelligence is to design a survey, a digital survey that takes into consideration the level of your respondents. We had a session the other day with the members of Vantage Africa M&E Professionals Association on artificial intelligence in monitoring and evaluation. And we were asking ourselves, is M&E replacing us? No, is artificial intelligence replacing us? Sorry. Is artificial intelligence replacing M&E professionals? Because as I was telling you, we have developed at Vantage Africa, we have developed an M&E, a digital M&E system that is AI enabled. In this digital M&E system, the report that you would use 3 days to develop, you develop it within 3 minutes. Just a few clicks, you have a report. The AI component of that digital M&E system, you can ask it for any report. You just ask, it will tell you anything. The AI system, it teaches you monitoring and evaluation. And you can speak to it. You can tell it, hi, Eval 360, I am struggling with indicators. Could you give me some examples using our projects on how to develop indicators? It's going to help you with that. So, but your job, your role as a monitoring and evaluation professional in the age of artificial intelligence is designing interactions that are at the level of your respondents. Now, with artificial intelligence, there is real-time trend analysis. AI quickly identifies patterns from community inputs, and even if you have responses from 10,000 people, you don't need to spend 5 days or 10 days doing analysis. It gives you instant, real-time analysis, automated reports and dashboards, and gives you very nice, and I think most of us have implemented this. It also has sentiment and thematic analysis. Would you like to become a certified monitoring and evaluation professional? My name is Dr. Benson Kiarie, CEO at Vantage Africa School of Leadership, and I have trained more than 10,000 M&E professionals from 27 countries in Africa. And this is your turn. You see, Africa is now embracing the value of monitoring, evaluation, and learning. I have assisted hundreds of organizations and even governments to develop their M&E systems. Today, being a certified M&E professional opens a myriad of doors for you in your career growth. As an organization, your ability to measure impact accurately and report them powerfully will not only improve the performance of your programs, it will also attract key development partners, including donors. Every stakeholder wants to ensure that there exists a robust mechanism to both measure and report performance accurately, as this improves both impact and accountability in all our programming. Now, I have organized for one more training this year where I will come and meet you in person on these particular dates. Now, this is how we handle our trainings. I will first of all come and meet you for 3 days one-on-one training. During these 3 days, we are going to handle all the concepts that you need to know about monitoring and evaluation, and it is going to be 100% practical. We are not going to do anything theory. Monitoring and evaluation has nothing to do with what you know. M&E is about what you can do, because when you go to the field, nobody wants to know what you know. People want to ask, can you deliver results? So you're going to come up with a case study project, and by using this case study project, you're going to learn everything that you need to learn regarding monitoring and evaluation. You're going to develop an entire M&E plan with all its components, including the logical framework, theory of change, performance monitoring plan, performance evaluation plan, data quality plans, M&E reports, and anything else that you need to learn on monitoring and evaluation. It is going to be 100% practical. And this is what sets us apart as Vantage Africa, a school of leadership. We do not do theory because we need to ensure that by the end of the training, you have the confidence. If you find a consultancy out there that requires an M&E professional, you're competent enough and you're confident enough to apply for it and deliver results. After the 3 days training, we will continue meeting online for 3 months. We will be meeting every Tuesday evening for 2 hours for continuous professional development. We believe that learning does not end when you get a certificate. In fact, according to me, that's when it starts. Professionals study more than students. After the 3 months, you will qualify to become a full member of Vantage Africa M&E Professionals Association, or VAMEPA. If you'd like to be part of this transformational training, simply click the link below, and I'm going to provide you with all the information regarding the training, including a comprehensive training schedule for you to review. We're also going to hold several online sessions before the training date. We want to meet with you before we have that physical training so that we can explain more about the course, we can answer all your questions, and we can share some materials with you in advance. If you want to be part of those online sessions, give me your details through the link that I have shared, and I'm going to send you the meeting link on your email. You can also reach me on this phone number or this email address, and I'll be very, very happy to engage with you. I am so looking forward to meeting you during that training.
The course has been very fantastic. One cannot do away with.
This training has been an impactful one.
Training was quite interactive.
It was worth participating. Monitoring and evaluation training was splendid.
Transformative.
Very practical.
It's been hands-on, more practical.
A very lively program.
Now, I know many of you will be sponsored by your organizations. For the trainings that I have held, and I have held so many trainings, as I said, 27 countries across Africa. A large majority of my participants have been sponsored by their organization. If you will be sponsored by your organization, please let me know, because we usually have a special package for those organizations that are bringing 5 participants or more. We're going to be giving you a 5% discount. So if your organization will be sponsoring 5 of you or more, we're going to give you a 5% discount on the total amount that you're supposed to pay. Please forward this video to those people who you know might be interested. You never know, you might end up changing their lives. For me, the people who have impacted me the most are the people who have recommended some trainings that have changed my life completely. So, you know somebody who might be interested in this training, please forward this video to them. And by the way, we usually have a package where if you can refer 5 participants to join us, you will do the training for free. I look forward to seeing you, first of all, in the online sessions. Please come for the online sessions. It's gonna be awesome. You will meet people who have already gone through this training before you. And finally, I would love to see you during the physical training, where we are going to engage one-on-one and learn and become certified M&E professionals. I look forward to seeing you, and it's been a pleasure hosting you for this engagement. Thank you very much, and see you in class.